Hi everyone, welcome to this update video. I hope you're doing really awesome today. And we'll be talking about the tropics as per usual. So we'll be looking at what's currently happening, but we want to focus on what could happen as we head throughout this week, especially going to the end of this week and the start of the following week, because things have kind of cooled off in the tropics, but we're going to be seeing a bit more action kick up soon. So we'll be looking at the possibilities, the trends with the models. So let's get straight to the details. However, for right now, we can see that we've got that frontal system out there in the North Atlantic and also in West 94L. So that is a tropical disturbance. Is what you saw on that map earlier. So it is highlighted in yellow, given a 30% formation chance over the course of the next 7 days. Now, this is not going to be a quickly developing system. What I'm concerned about is when it approaches the Caribbean. So for now, we're not likely to see much happen with it, maybe within the next 4 to 5 days, but thereafter, we could see things really starting to change with the system. So I'll be showing you guys that later down. But as we head to parts of Northern South America and even the Caribbean, we're seeing a lot of those white dots. Now, those are indicative of lightning strikes, so lots of afternoon showers and thunderstorms being influenced by the daytime heating. As we take a closer look at the Caribbean, here we can see what's going on. So yeah, lots of showers and thunderstorms in parts of Cuba, a couple spots in Jamaica, although it's been a pretty sunny day for most of us, even for parts of Hispaniola. Got some showers moving into parts of the Lesser Antilles as well. And there is a tropical wave that is approaching. Now, as we head to the Western Caribbean, we see lots of moisture. And another tropical wave is in the region there. So that's kind of helping out as well with all the moisture. And matter of fact, this area is going to remain generally active. So looking at the rainfall forecast through tomorrow afternoon, here we can see what is expected by Euro. We've got all these pretty shadings on the screen. So the reds go into those burgundy-ish shadings representative of rainfall amounts, probably over an inch, going up to maybe near 2 inches of rainfall in total. So in parts of Cuba, the Bahamas as well, and even towards the vicinity of the West Caribbean, especially to Central America, could be quite active with all that shower and thunderstorm activity, generally an increase in moisture in the area. Oh, and by the way, this is going to be an area to watch for a potential airflow pressure forming as well as we head into the new week. That's one of the areas where we may see some level of development take place, although nothing is solid in regards to that. But I'll be showing you guys what the models are forecasting. And then with that next tropical wave approaching, there's likely to be some additional showers and thunderstorms across parts of the Windward Islands. Now, we're going to be talking about the disturbance in a little bit more detail. First, we're looking at the track guidance. Now, take a look at this. As we're going to be heading into the next several days, this is what the various models are showing. Notice the general westward track taking the system to the vicinity of the Caribbean. So that has been a trend I have been watching for some time. We see the labelings of the different time frames, the different days for each of the models. So we see 120, that's 120 hours or 5 days out from now. So by that time, it could be just east of the Lesser Antilles. So models have been showing this trend in regards to the system and has it developing slowly. Now, because it's going to remain weak, likely as a tropical wave, these weaker systems tend to trot further to the west. But what happens later down the road? Let's take a look at the model intensity guidance. So here we've got all these different models, and notice the different shadings. So TS, that stands for tropical storm. Cat 1 is for Cat 1 hurricane. Cat 2 hurricane. So we can see these different shadings here. And so over the course of the next couple of days, notice that almost all of these models keep the system within that white shading below tropical storm intensity. So it's not likely to develop quickly. As I said, it's not going to be a fast developing system. However, as we head further out in time, especially going to around, say, 5 days out from now, notice that we have more of these models now within that green shading, showing that, hey, this could try to make it to tropical storm status. It may try to develop. So that is suggesting that at that time, the environment could be a bit more favorable to actually allow for development to take place. So upper level winds may not be so favorable right now. We may not have a whole lot of moisture around. Sea surface temperatures are very warm though, and especially in the Caribbean, that's going to be a huge issue if we should have anything breeding in these waters with other environmental conditions being conducive. Speaking of the sea surface temperatures, I actually want to show you guys something quite interesting. So this was the track of Major Hurricane Kirk. So Kirk was a Cat 4. It wasn't a fast mover, but we can see the effect that it had on the sea surface temperatures. First, let's look at this map and see if you would see one of the effects of Hurricane Kirk. So even though Kirk didn't directly affect anyone as a Category 4 hurricane, it actually helped to cool down the waters a bit. Notice this swath of the slightly cooler water, but it's more apparent on this map here, showing the sea surface temperature anomaly. So the anomaly is how much the temperature varies from what is typical. So as these hurricanes form, they depend on the very warm waters, all that moisture, all that evaporation on a very wide scale to develop. So it took so much fuel out of the ocean that it actually cooled off the water. So we got the cooler waters from further depths coming up to replace the warm water. So that's a phenomenon known as upwelling. So we can see that very clearly on the anomaly map. The blue shadings indicate cooler than average waters, but we can see that the Caribbean, very, very warm, lots of waters around to support development. And with all those tropical systems in the Gulf, some areas have been cooled off a little bit there as well. Most recently, we had Major Hurricane Milton. But let's go back into the meat of the matter with the disturbance. So what will it do? Let's look at some model trends. And we're kickstarting things looking at the Euro model. So this is what Euro is showing. As we're going to be heading into early next week, it is certainly expecting that increase in moisture in the Western Caribbean, which is represented by all those green shadings. And there we have that system approaching, likely as a tropical wave. So that would be Invest 94L. Now, take a look at this. Notice that we got these black squiggly lines going around in a circular manner. Now, that is showing areas of equal atmospheric pressure. When we have a tropical system developing, this is one of those classic features that we look for on these weather maps or these synoptic charts. So as we're going to be heading into the following week, going into not tomorrow, Sunday, but the following Sunday, October 20th, look at this. Euro has a system moving mostly on the westward track. Now, why isn't it going up and out? Euro is expecting that an area of high pressure will reinforce itself over the eastern United States. Now, these high pressure systems, tropical cyclones, cannot just go through them. They have to move around them, around the periphery, and they move these high pressure areas. The winds within them rotate in a clockwise fashion in the northern hemisphere. So we find that the system is being pushed to the west. And that westward trend continues, and Euro has the system intensifying. Notice these more blackish shadings and a lot more isobars being tightly packed. So that is a key sign of strengthening going to the following week, heading into late October, Tuesday the 22nd. So very interesting trend here from Euro. Next, we'll move on to the Canadian model, which is showing something very much similar. Here we can see, as we're going to be heading into the latter part of this coming week, that increase in moisture just the same. Not seeing any solid system in the West Caribbean, but we could still see an airflow pressure form that's not out of the picture. But then it has the disturbance approaching and developing as it makes its way towards the vicinity of the Caribbean. Canadian model also showing the area of high pressure, which would be steering the system generally to the west. As for the GFS model, now GFS is not really showing development of 94L, but as we head into this week, it is showing that, hey, we could see an airflow pressure form in the Southwest Caribbean, and it could quickly develop, could even make it to major hurricane status and hit Central America. So this is one of many forecasts, but GFS is sometimes a lot more bullish compared to other models, whereas Euro is sometimes more on the conservative side of things. So GFS not really showing much development or a similar trend to what we're seeing with the Canadian model and the Euro model in terms of Invest 94L. But either ways, there are definitely some trends. And of course, I'm going to keep an eye on things for you guys. So nothing is solid just yet. I want to put that out there. I'm not saying that, hey, a major hurricane is going to hit the Caribbean. This and this area is going to be slammed because what? These are forecasts, and especially beyond 5 days out, there's likely to be a lot of changes. So we just want to watch this thing here over the coming days, and it is unlikely that we're going to see much in terms of development from it for right now, but I'll be keeping you guys posted. And of course, you know, that's what I wanted to share with you guys in this update video this evening. So I do hope you found it to be informative, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll get to you when I have the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.